In the world of construction, building for a tropical climate is not as unique as it may seem. According to Peter Jervis, a civil and structural consulting engineer with over 40 years of experience, the principles of sound construction are largely universal, regardless of the climate. However, local factors such as weather and soil conditions do play a significant role in design choices and material selection. One of the first points Mr. Jervis makes in our discussion is that not all buildings require oversight by an engineer.
Residential homes of 3,000 to 4,000 square foot or less need not have a design document by an engineer, but it ought to at least be approved by the parish councils. Larger fancy homes generally are more than 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, and those have large spans and big openings. They've even moved to 10-foot high doors these days, in the new modern styling. They ought to be designed by an engineer.
Poured concrete walls have become the standard in Jamaican construction, while block and steel are still widely used. These materials can slow down the pace of fast-moving projects due to the additional rough casting and rendering required. Wooden construction, however, faces more difficulties in Jamaica, primarily due to the prevalence of termites. As noted by Mr. Jervis, wood must be kept off the ground and chemically treated to prevent termite damage.
We can use steel framework and studs, those little light gauge profiles that are used to hold drywall and cement board. You can build with that. That's good. And if that's properly braced, it's resistant to everything.
Water management is a critical concern in tropical construction, particularly in regions that experience heavy rainfall.
When water blows on a wall, it runs down and goes in wherever it can. So the porosity of a wall can only be protected against with latex type paints. And you should paint your windward wall every 5 years, because basic emulsion paints break down. They become powdery after all the sun and weather. So urban situations, Havendale, the flatter areas, Meadowbrook, Previews, all of these semi-flat places will have water problems and settlement of their footings. Principally one, because they put flower beds against the buildings. When you mulch up and water and allow rainwater to settle against your building, it only soaks down. And it soaks through the backfill after you build the building. You dig a trench, put the foundations, bring up the walls, and then you backfill. If you keep soaking that with water for horticulture or poor drainage, underneath the footing gets soft and soil behaves like toothpaste. Squeeze down here, it's going to do this. So it squeezes out from under the footing and the wall settles. And all of a sudden your square window turns into a parallelogram and your grill can't open because you have had differential settlement. So that's one of the big hiccups. Drain your roof water away from the house by every means possible.
Or
dig a soak-away pit, much like what you used to do for sewage.
building near the shoreline in Jamaica brings its own set of regulations and risks.
First of all, legally, you're not to build within 150 feet of the shore. So those who build close to the shore have unusual and extraordinary privilege. Because KCC not going to approve a house within 150 foot of the shoreline. No parish council will, unless you have a particularly special resort accommodation.
In a hot tropical climate, cooling becomes a critical issue for homeowners. Solar power is recommended as an efficient way to offset energy costs.
Cooling is critical. If you want to use the old conventional sheet metal roofing, you should not have exposed rafters and sarking, because the sheet metal heats up that wood and that radiates heat all day into the night, like a slab roof. You should have a drop ceiling like this. You should have a ceiling, whether it's Solitex board or plywood or anything. That air cavity prevents the radiated heat from the sheeting from disturbing you in the house. And you should really have a vent in that ceiling space. With air conditioning, keep your unit almost at eye level. There's no point heating, cooling air above your head.
A major barrier to proper construction for many Jamaicans is the lack of land titles.
Nobody is going to invest on something that they're not sure of.
So, it's best to start with a plan and a secure lot. Through his decades of experience, Peter Jervis's advice: invest in doing it right the first time. Proper planning, drainage, and engineering are essential, particularly in a tropical climate like ours.